كتير طرق وسط الحياة تاهوا فيها ناس، وطرق تبان مفروشة ورد وتنتهي بألم وضيق، لكن الطريق للفرحة وطريق الخلاص عند المسيح. أصل المسيح هو الحياة، هو الطريق 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 الطريق
And here we are. Welcome back to The Way TV. Always glad to be back on the TV. We're going to start right away with a clip to get things going. Arizona, I'm zeroing in on Arizona. I was at an Arizona gun show a couple weeks ago. Talked to a number of the really great folks there at Arizona at the gun show. The interesting thing was I was told multiple times that, gee, in Arizona we don't have a problem. Well, in Arizona, I'm showing a map here of the United States, and every one of the black dots that you see there, every one of the black dots that you see is a mosque in the United States. And ladies and gentlemen, in Arizona, you got a bunch. You got a bunch of mosques in Kingman, Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona, in Tucson, Arizona. In fact, the very first Muslim Student Association, Muslim Brotherhood in the United States was University of Arizona. AU, University or UA, University of Arizona Wildcats, 1985. In Arizona, you got massive problems. This guy was a member of the Phoenix Mosque. Ibrahim Simpson shot to death in Texas. And he did it because he said he was a member of ISIS. I'm going to show you a clip in a few minutes where he was featured at the mosque in Arizona in a fundraiser. He comes on at 4 minutes and 57 seconds. I don't know if I can wait that long to get to him. He is dead, KIA. He and his buddy shot to death. ISIS fighting on behalf of the Caliphate in the United States from the Arizona Mosque. In the United States, you have over 2,000 mosques in the United States. They're all at strategic locations all throughout the United States. On the West Coast, you can see them over here. Arizona's over here. Bunches and bunches of mosques. The reason there's not too many mosques right there, that is the Southwest, which is pretty much arid desert. There's not that many cities and whatnot. But around every military base in the United States, you will find ISIS supporting Muslim Brotherhood at every one of these bases. If you go back to clip number 38, 37, 36, what did Muhammad do? You will see all the proof, evidence, and facts of that. Ibrahim, this is Simpson from the Phoenix Mosque. Here is the Imam. I did a lot of research on this guy here. It's Umar Farouk Mahmoud from the mosque in Kingman, Arizona. There's only like 25 families that go to this mosque, but it's a very expensive mosque. I've seen it. We're going to show a clip of that. This guy comes from Pakistan. He is a Deobandi. They are the founders of the Taliban. 12,000 students at the university where Umar Farouk Mahmoud, the mosque leader, the Imam of the Kingman Mosque, founded. Address 2075 Airway Avenue, Kingman, at the intersection of Airway and Burbank. It's right behind the Walmart. 2075 Airway Avenue, Kingman, Arizona, at the corner of Airway and Burbank, right behind the Walmart. Umar Farouk Mahmoud studied at the university there in Pakistan, Deoband. He is a Deobandi, which is a particular sect of vitriolic and very aggressive Muslims. These are the kind of guys, their theology is used by the folks that flew the airplanes into the World Trade Center that behead people for ISIS, for Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram. In fact, this school was started for the same essence that Boko Haram. Boko Haram means against Western education. This school here, where Umar Farooq Mahmoud, the Imam of the Kingman Mosque, Umar Farooq Mahmoud, specializes in the same theology as Boko Haram. They're against everything that signifies Western culture, Western values, especially teaching girls, sending girls to be educated and taught. So here you have Simpson, KIA, so he could get his 72 virgins. I think he got fooled. And he's going to find some other folks there. He's not going to be going up there for paradise. He's going to be going down and joining Muhammad. He'll be on fire for Jesus. You got the leader of the Kingman, Arizona Mosque, Umar Farooq Mahmoud, trained at a Deobandi school in Pakistan with 12,000 students. Their mission is to go throughout the world and convert everybody to hating Western culture, Western values, First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, which is what Jade Helm is all about. And this gentleman here, if I can say the word gentleman, he's the president of the Islamic Community Center where O. Simpson went to the mosque. His name is Usama Shami. He's the president. Usama Shami, Phoenix. He is the guy that's in charge of the mosque where we're going to show the clip where they had the fundraising where Ibrahim Simpson was featured. This is the imam of the mosque where Ibrahim Simpson went, Sheikh Mahmoud Suleiman, Islamic Community Center in Phoenix. This is the guy who's probably responsible for educating and teaching Ibrahim Simpson. Well, we know that because he's featured in the fundraising video that we're going to show in a few minutes. This guy here, this goes way back to 2013. He's a member of the Muslim Brotherhood with the Council on American Islamic Relations. Council on American Islamic Relations is all 50 states. They are Muslim Brotherhood. They support the Muslim Brotherhood logo. And from the Quran, 860, chapter 8, verse 60 of the Quran, strike terror, terrorize the infidel, and basically run them down with steeds of war. That would be horses. Today that would be tanks. He was invited to speak, and he did. I believe he prayed. He did the opening prayer. Yes, he opened the Arizona Senate in 2013 with the Islamic prayer. Well, Mr. Allah Akbar himself. Now, a lot of people today, I've got two photographs here of non-Muslims. The first one here, and this goes back to how we work and try to survive Islam. This is Neville Chamberlain after he made the infamous pact with Germany, peace in our time, and he sold out England and the whole world. He was replaced with this guy who said, to hell with that, we're going to whoop them doggone Nazis. And frankly, when it comes to the Muslim Brotherhood and ISIS and all these other guys, we're going to have to do that. Today's show is featured, zeroed in on Arizona. Next week, I'm going to do Arizona and Texas. I'm going to try to do one state. And this takes me about 25 to 40 hours a week to get this all done. I enjoy doing it. I own my business, so I can fund all of this and take care of it. We are opening a store in Golden Valley, just west-northwest of Kingman, Arizona. It'll be on Highway 68, about 5 miles south of the intersection of Highway 93 and 68. Got some folks there. Again, when I went to the gun show there in Kingman, Arizona a couple of weeks ago, very nice people. I loved them all. It was great. In fact, I'm buying property in Arizona. I love Arizona, absolutely love it. But it was so interesting to me for the number of people who said, okay, in Arizona, we don't have a problem. Okay, so let's take a look at the mosque in Kingman, Arizona, clip number 11. Okay, that was pure intel. There was no noise on there whatsoever. There's pure intel showing that the mosque in Kingman, Arizona does indeed exist, and that it's run by a student of the Deobandi sect or denomination of Islam, and that the Deobandis are the founders of the Taliban and other very vitriolic and aggressive and dangerous branches of Islam. The way he's got his beard and his face hair, he's probably converted more to like a Salafi. He could be absolutely Deobandi because the way they wear their beards without a mustache is very common how they do that, which, as a matter of fact, that's very much part of it. Okay, this is the mosque in Phoenix, Arizona, where Simpson was shot to death. The guy that joined ISIS, this character here, him and his buddy, went to this mosque. Clip number 7. Clip number 7.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ونصلي ونسلم على المبعوث رحمة العالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان الدين وبعد.
Phoenix, Arizona is now the 5th largest city in the United States. The population has grown by 39% since '97. This is a greater population increase than any other city in the United States. There are over 80,000 Muslims in the Phoenix area, with 30 to 40 Muslim family moving in Phoenix area each year.
I remember the first time I driving down 35th Avenue and saw Arabic writing on a small white house. And I came running home to my husband, oh, I found something. And he went and read it, and that's when we were introduced to the first mosque that was 2-bedroom house, if I'm not mistaken.
My name is Osama Shami. I'm the chairman of Islamic Community Center of Phoenix. When I came to this community in '97, the community was praying in a duplex house, and there was about probably 150 people coming to the services. It was a very old house that did not have any amenities. And then we moved to this facility in '98. When this facility was an old church.
And we've outgrown that as well. So alhamdulillah, we're growing.
إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة ولم يخش إلا الله فعسى أولئك أن يكونوا من المهتدين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ونصلي ونسلم على المبعوث رحمة العالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان الدين وبعد. احنا اليوم نتكلم مع إخواننا كلمة صغيرة عن المسجد وأهمية المسجد. فالمسجد يا إخواني هو مصدر التوجيه الروحي والمادي في حياة الأمة المسلمة. فهو ساحة للعبادة، ميدان للأخلاق، مدرسة للعلم، ندوة للأدب، يعني بناء مسجد بناء إنسان. ومن أجل تحقيق كل هذه المعاني السامية في مجتمع المسلمين أسرع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قبل كل شيء فبادر إلى بناء المسجد في مدينته المنورة صلوات الله وسلامه عليه.
Phoenix is unique because it's spread horizontally. It's not like other cities that you have main centers. So you find people coming to the mosque driving 20 or 30 miles or maybe 40 miles. And this is the only center that serves the need of these people.
My name is Munib Shaban. I'm a resident in Phoenix, Arizona for a long time, and being part of the Islamic Community Center also for a long time. Our masjid has been very fortunate to have an imam with very strong background in Islamic knowledge who actually provide fatwa according to reliable divine laws and the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and all the saying and the interpretation and the opinion of the major scholar. We provide Jummah prayer every Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock sharp. We also provide 3 halaqah weekly, Friday after Isha prayer, 1 Saturday after Fajr until sunrise, and finally a special halaqah for the sister on Saturday after Maghrib prayer. All of our khutbahs and halaqas are translated in real time to English and can be heard through audio headphones at the mosque.
It recharges your iman as well when you come together and you pray 5 times a day with the brothers, and you're reminded about the hereafter and Jannah and Jahannam. It provides for you a form of weaponry to go out into the real world and use that weaponry to shield you against the tricks of the shaitan.
The Imam is available in the masjid between Maghrib and Isha every day.
Okay, that last guy you watched right there is from the Islamic mosque there, the Islamic Community Center of Phoenix, which, by the way, okay, so there's the guy right there who was shot to death in Texas. He's a member of the mosque there, the Islamic Community Center of Phoenix. Now, when they interviewed the guys in charge of the mosque, they said, oh, no. They tried to play him down like he was no big deal. Really? Well, they put him in their fundraising deal. Must be a pretty big guy because he got killed trying to kill people who were just trying to tell the truth. Now, the Islamic Community Center of Phoenix, the paper, the mortgage is held by the North American Islamic Trust. The North American Islamic Trust is Muslim Brotherhood. They're a Muslim Brotherhood group. You can go online, you can type in Steve Merley, M-E-R-L-E-Y, Muslim Brotherhood in America, and they've got like 65 pages of documentation of the North American Islamic Trust, Council on American Islamic Relations, Islamic Society of North America. They're all Muslim Brotherhood. They all support ISIS. They all do like the leader of the Kingman Mosque, Umar Farouk Mahmoud. They've all been taught in the Deobandi or the Salafi or the Wahhabi sect and denomination, which is what all of your Muslim terrorists throughout the world are accountable to. Now, I didn't call him a terrorist, did I? Because there's no cause of action. He hadn't done anything. However, his school and his beliefs are what motivate people like Mr. Simpson here in Arizona to go out and want to kill people. Are you starting to see the connections there? Anglo-American common law, for years and years and years, has condemned people for merely being members of an association. I have the Nuremberg trial, the Nuremberg case here with me. I will read it from the Nuremberg trial, why they tried, convicted, and hung the Nazis based on, some of them, merely because they were members of the Nazi Party. Now, all of these guys, we talked about these guys last week and what they're doing, how they operate in the United States. This guy is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. And you can see over here, the 4 fingers means he's a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. This symbol here means that he supports ISIS. This guy here, he's got the Hezbollah flag. He is in charge of Council on American Islamic Relations. He is out of, I believe, Florida. He's also steeped in that theology. This guy here is out of Los Angeles. But these guys work together. These guys work together with these guys and with these guys in Arizona and with this guy in Arizona and with this guy in Arizona and with this guy in Arizona. They're all working together all across the nation together. All of the mosques that I was showing you earlier, let's set it aside here, I'll find it here somewhere. These guys are all over the United States. I got people, there it is right there. All these mosques are interconnected like a giant spider web, not just through the United States, but to Canada, down to Mexico. We know the drug cartels, for a fact, are working with ISIS and the Muslim Brotherhood, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, down through South America, over into Africa, Boko Haram, into Europe and the Philippines and all over the place. We know these guys are doing all this stuff. And all that theology is the same theology as this guy here, Osama bin Laden. It's the same theology. It's the same rule book. It's the same playbook. When our military, Fox News, CNN says, or President Obama says, we don't understand ISIS, well, really, why don't you just read the Quran, the Hadith, their holy books? For example, right here, I have a cartoon, pretty funny. That's a picture of Muhammad in lingerie in the underwear of his 6-year-old wife, Aisha. This is out of their holy book. It's called the Hadith from Bukhari. I'm going to read right out of their holy book, the Bukhari, that Muhammad was wearing women's clothes. He was a transvestite. This is in Bukhari, and Bukhari is to Islam what King James Bible is to many Christians. Muhammad says to his 6-year-old wife, "Do not injure me regarding Aisha. The revelation does not come to me when I am in the garment of any woman except Aisha." Oh, really? In other words, what Muhammad is saying there is he can't get revelations unless he wears women's clothes. But he couldn't get any revelations from other women other than his wife, Aisha, his 6-year-old wife. 6-year-old wife. That's called pedophilia. That's pretty crazy. Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood founded 50% of the mosques in the West. 50%. I would say it's closer to 90%. A lot of you, I know you're starting to wake up. You're starting to think. Now here we have the leader of Council on American Islamic Relations, Nihad Awad, who's good buddies with this guy in California, leader of Council on American Islamic Relations in California. And here we have Nihad Awad. Here we have Nihad Awad with George W. Bush in Washington, D.C. By the way, in Virginia and that area, they're having a hell of a time with the terrorists. So there's old George W. Bush working with leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States. Here we have the leader of the Conservative Political Action Committee, Grover Norquist, working with a known member of the Muslim Brotherhood, Suhail Khan. He's trying to get him elected into office. Again, there's all the mosques. This is old. There's over 2,200 mosques in the United States, and like the guy said there, in Phoenix, Arizona, about 80,000 Muslims in Phoenix, Arizona. All of them are being taught by these folks who are teaching the very same thing of Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda and Taliban. There's George W. Bush with a former president of the Islamic Society of North America, Muslim Brotherhood, umbrella group for all of the United States. Islamic Community Center of Phoenix, which was founded in 1982, is located at 7516 North Black Canyon Highway along Interstate 17 in Phoenix, Arizona. It is a former Baptist church that has been converted into a mosque, having moved into that location in 1997. The land deeds of the Islamic Community Center of Phoenix are held by the North American Islamic Trust, Muslim Brotherhood. The mosque is a spiritual base for many of the Valley of the Suns, Arizona, 50,000 to 70,000 Muslims. It includes an Islamic school. In 2011, the mosque was completing a 17,000 square foot building with a 62-foot high minaret. That's the thing that sticks up in the air. 1 block south and 6 times larger than its prior location, which, according to the leaders, made it the largest Islamic center in the Southwest. Okay, Usama Shami is the president of the Islamic Community Center of Phoenix. Sheikh Mahmoud Suleiman, an Al-Azhar University graduate, that would be in Egypt, has served as the imam of the mosque since 2002. Okay, they're everywhere, believe me, in Arizona, in Texas, and they're doing the same exact theology as this guy here. You know him, Osama bin Laden. The same exact theology as this guy here, the poster boy for ISIS, Shakir Wahib. The same identical theology and the same identical ideology, Boko Haram, against Western education, which is what Boko Haram means, and which is the Deobandi, their theology that's taught in Pakistan, the leader of the mosque in Kingman, Arizona. Clip number 6. Clip number 6, please.
ISIS is not backing down from its boastful claims it's behind the attack on the Muhammad cartoon competition in Garland, Texas, carried out by Phoenix roommates Elton Simpson and Nadir Sufi. An online warning now says the attack by the Islamic State in America is only the beginning. And it goes on to say ISIS has stationed 71 trained soldiers in 15 different states, ready at our word to attack any target we desire. Of the 15 states, 5 we will name: Virginia, Maryland, Illinois, California, and Michigan. U.S. officials are looking into ISIS claims it was involved in the attack in Texas. The White House has also warned ISIS is using the internet to attract possible radicals, including right here in the U.S.
What we do know is we know that there are extremists around the globe, including some who are affiliated with ISIL, who are trying to capitalize on the opportunity that's presented by social media to try to communicate with individuals around the world, including inside the United States.
That said, agents are looking for a mysterious American who may have been a middleman or a recruiter in the Texas attack.
Very good. Okay, now this next clip is all about Arizona, Texas, California. It's by the leader that I showed you that picture of him with George W. Bush. His name is Nihad Awad. He's on the O'Reilly Show. It takes about 3 minutes until he really exposes the truth, where he thinks that the majority of terrorists throughout the world are not Muslims. Well, why would he? He's a Muslim, and according to the Muslim Brotherhood, chapter 8, verse 60 of the Quran, to go out and strike terror into the infidel's heart, to use steeds of war, horses or tanks, suicide bombers, murderers, beheaders, ISIS, Boko Haram. He thinks they're not terrorists because he's a Muslim, and jihad is a fundamental, huge part of Islam. Look, they're going to get up there and they're going to say the 5 pillars of Islam. Well, here's the real true 5 pillars of Islam are simple. What did Muhammad do? What did Muhammad do? What did Muhammad do? What did Muhammad do? And what did Muhammad do? There's 22 verses in the Quran, that tell the Muslim, if you want to be a good Muslim, in the Quran 33:21. In Islam, Muhammad is considered to be the al-insan al-kamil, the ideal man or the perfect man. He is an excellent model of conduct. What did he do? Raped, murdered, pedophile, child molester. He was a cross-dresser. I showed that cartoon. He's a cross-dresser. The dude couldn't get revelations unless he's wearing a 6-year-old woman's clothes. He's a cross-dresser. He was an assassin. He was a thief. He was a murderer. Islam never created algebra. Forget it. The word algebra may be an Arabic word, but algebra was created over 1,000 years before Muhammad was ever born. Quran 33:21. Certainly you have in the messenger of Allah an excellent exemplar for him who hopes in Allah and the latter day and remembers Allah much. That's Muhammad. He demonstrates an exalted standard of character. In fact, in the Deobandi theology, it tells them do what Muhammad did. That's why Simpson and all these people want to kill everybody. Clip number 8. Clip number 8. Clip number 8.
How should good Muslims fight the jihad? The first Muslim congressman, Keith Ellison of Minnesota, says we should ignore it.
Who knows what these individuals' motivation may be, but it probably will have something to do more with politics than religion. So let's not cast a wide net and just go after a whole religious group.
Unbelievable. We know, of course, that the bombers were motivated by religion. Joining us from Washington, Nihad Awad, the National Executive Director on the Council on American Islamic Relations. So am I being unfair here, Mr. Awad?
I think you have been inaccurate, but let me just explain why. First of all, thank you for having me on the show again.
Sure.
And I really appreciate it because it's important to bring American Muslims to speak to the nation through a network like Fox News, because there have been so many views being shared about American Muslims and the faith of Islam, and it needs someone who is Muslim, practicing Islam, to share with the public who we are, how we feel, and where we stand on the issues. So let me start with Monday. When the horrific news came on, I was at home. I run marathons. Family members in my family. They run marathons. I am a cheerleader for them. I know the excitement. I know the energy. So when this news came, the explosion happened there. It shattered so many lives. I am angered as a Muslim. I am angered because I love this sport. And I'm angered as an American because this attack was on all of us, period. No ifs and buts. We condemn this immediately, swiftly, unequivocally. I myself was glued to TV like millions of Americans. When I saw the photos of the suspect, I tweeted those photos and I asked people if they know it, they should immediately contact the FBI. Then on Monday, and on Friday, when the pictures were released and there was a deadly shootout and the first suspect was killed, I myself was relieved that one was down. And at the end of the day, when the second suspect was held, I was totally relieved that the hunt was over.
Okay, and we take you at your word that you're a good American and you want justice to be done. But the fact remains that radical Islam is the primary driver of terrorism in the world. Would you admit that?
No,
you wouldn't admit that. Now here's where it all goes. Look, I don't have time for a speech, so you got to go back and forth with me, okay? You not admitting that radical Islam drives worldwide terrorism puts you in a category where you have no credibility, because the facts are the facts. 90% of worldwide terrorism is radical Islam.
Well, I would say Islam, Deobandi, because what did Muhammad do, the perfect man? When you see ISIS and when you see Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda and Taliban, and you see Simpson and his buddy out trying to murder people, this stuff, all these mosques in the United States, this is what they teach. In fact, former leader of the CIA, James Woolsey, in the Hudson Institute called Hate-Filled Ideology, invades U.S. mosques. You can go right online and download it. It's like 50, 60 pages long. So all the mosques in the United States, and they all teach the same thing. They all teach so that people like this guy can go out, be a good Muslim, and kill people. Okay, now there's two things here. A lot of people are really confused thinking, but in the United States, we have an absolute freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, and freedom to petition the government for a redress of grievances. We have limited freedom. I will come back to that. And also, this gentleman here is currently in federal prison for exercising his religious beliefs. His name is Warren Jeffs of the Fundamental LDS. And this gentleman here used to be right in the center. It's an old picture from like 1889. He was thrown in federal prison along with all of his buddies there in the striped suits for cohabitation and polygamy. That was back in 1889. And also the same guy right here by my finger, there's an $800 reward for his capture back in 1889, just before he was captured, put out by the federal government, and it was all approved by the Supreme Court. The First Amendment does not grant us religious right to start any religion that's dangerous. In fact, in the First Amendment, religion, speech, press, and assembly to petition the government for redress of grievances, there's one huge thing in each one of those, an ellipsis that's left out, but it's understood. And that ellipsis that's left out, that's understood, is they have to be non-dangerous, they have to be, therefore, peaceful. Islam, by its very nature, ISIS, Boko Haram, Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Deobandi, the Wahhabis, the list goes on and on and on. There's as many divisions in Islamic theology as there is in Protestantism and Christianity. Believe me, once you start going down the line, it gets so confusing, just as it does with the Protestants and some of the branches of the Catholics. Okay, now, what I'm reading from now is the Nuremberg case by Robert H. Jackson, Supreme Court Justice, who tried, convicted, and hung a number of the Nazis for war crimes, on page 104 of the Nuremberg case. The fact is, however, that every form of government has considered it necessary to treat some organizations as criminal. The Muslim Brotherhood has been outlawed for being terrorists in Egypt. They've been outlawed and designated terrorist groups by the United Arab Emirates and some other Muslim countries too. They're dangerous. They're naturally dangerous because their theology, their religion, just as this man is in federal prison for exercising his religious beliefs, and this man from years ago, in the middle there, with all those prisoners as soon as they were thrown in federal prison. In fact, Utah was not allowed to become a state until it got rid of polygamy. We have all the proof, evidence, and facts on that. And again, an $800 reward put out by the federal government, approved by the Supreme Court to arrest that man for exercising his religious beliefs. In World War II, with the convictions of the Nazis, being a member of the Nazi Party was made illegal. Somehow in the United States, somebody thought that, well, gee, that's pretty evil and wicked. I believe in the next 5 to 20 years, we will outlaw the Muslim Brotherhood and these other groups, and eventually, within 50 years, we will outlaw Islam. Let me repeat. Page 104, from Supreme Court Justice, handpicked by Truman, to go ahead with this trial. The fact is, however, that every form of government has considered it necessary to treat some organizations as criminal. You can't create an organization, call it a religion, and say it's the First Baptist Church of Communists, where they, First Baptist Church of Cannibals, where during their ceremony they sacrifice children on the altar and then they eat them as part of the service. You can't do that. On page 105 of the Nuremberg trial, Nuremberg case, precedents in English law for outlawing organizations and punishing membership therein are old and consistent with the Charter. One of these, first, is the British India Act, number 30, enacted November 14th, 1836. Section 1 provides, and in fact this goes back to the Deobandis, and that's when the Deobandis were created. It is hereby enacted that whoever shall be proved to have belonged either before or after the passing of this act to any gang of thugs, that would be the Deobandis or the ISIS types, Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, they're all the same, either within or without the territories of the East India Company, shall be punished with imprisonment for life with hard labor. Further on, French criminal law makes membership in subversive organizations a crime. Membership in the criminal gang is a crime in itself. On page 109, it states, of course, members of criminal organizations or conspiracies who personally commit crimes are individually punishable for these crimes exactly as are those who commit the same offenses without organizational backing. But the very gist of the crime of conspiracy or membership in a criminal association is liability for acts one did not personally commit, but which his acts facilitated or abetted. The crime is to combine with others and to participate in the unlawful common effort, however innocent the personal acts of the participant when considered by themselves. The very innocent act of mailing a letter is enough to implicate one in a conspiracy if the purpose of the letter is to advance a criminal plan. There are countless examples of this doctrine in Anglo-American common law jurisprudence. And this goes right back to the Phoenix Mosque, where they were teaching these mosques all over the United States so that Ibrahim Simpson and these other guys can go out and then kill. Well, under that doctrine, which goes back in ancient Anglo-American common law, then just being a member of that group is illegal. Now, I know a lot of people are just mortified. I understand, but as you see, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. As Islam grows percentile by percentile by percentile, you can go back to clip number, What Did Mohammed Do, number 38, and What Did Mohammed Do, number 37, and I showed clips there that show the behavior of the Muslims in a country when they reach 1%, 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, how they behave more and more and more dangerous. Okay. Clip number 9. Clip number 9. Okay, that's the Muslim Brotherhood in France. Again, a Muslim Brotherhood, if you're going to get confused by watching CNN and Fox News, I see no difference in their reporting when it comes to Islam. Both of them have a skewed opinion that the First Amendment is absolute and that every religion is allowed into the United States. That's not true. I just proved that by showing those pictures of Warren Jeffs and George C. Cannon of the when they were polygamists back there. In fact, it was the United States that forced the prophet of the LDS to have a revelation to say, oh, well, we can't cohabitate and have multiple wives. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Okay, so religion's limited, it's not absolute. So somehow Fox News, CNN are jurists at every level, just the guy coming out of law school and a guy teaching at law school, of the sheriffs and the police all seem to think that you can have any religion in the United States that you want. Well, the Supreme Court is not permitting Warren Jeffs to get out of prison for doing pedophilia and raping little girls, and the Supreme Court was not going to let George Q. Cannon and his polygamists and cohabitators out of the law, because it was interesting. The Republicans had been fighting the polygamy because they said it was equal to female slavery. Polygamy was equal to female slavery. Interesting argument. And here's an $800 reward. So people who tell me you cannot regulate religion, well, we have been doing it for a long time. And as I read from the Nuremberg trial, you are guilty by merely being a member of these criminal organizations. Okay. Here's a good example here. Chris Christie, governor of New Jersey, thinks that religion has absolutely nothing to do with making judicial decisions as a judge. By the way, the Muslim that he appoints to the court is Muslim Brotherhood. We have all the proof, evidence, and facts on that. So clip number 10, clip number Ashra.
Ignorance. Ignorance is behind the criticism of Sohail Mohammed. Sohail Mohammed is an extraordinary American who is an outstanding lawyer and played